What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the North Chat. I'm Aiden, joined by my co-host Santosh,
Yo,
and today we got a lot to talk about.
lot to talk about, bro.
Um, the Raptors in crazy fashion. I don't think I've ever seen a game like this in my life. Go on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 93-89 and even up the series at 2 games apiece. Um, I'm just gonna start with this, Santos. What are your main reactions from this game? Like, how do you feel right now?
Bro, honestly, I'm gonna start off by saying where I was during this game because it's a little important for like how I was feeling. I
Mm,
wasn't just watching the game at home, so I actually went to a MLSC bar, which is like a Raptors like the group that owns the Raptors and the Leafs and the Jays and stuff like that. They own this bar. So I had like a little bit of an enhanced experience. And because of
yeah,
that,
yes,
all
sir.
my emotions were a lot more amplified. So
Yeah,
it was a crazy game, of course. It was a very scrappy game, and like if we
very
lost, you'd
scrappy.
be super disappointed. But since we won, you kind of just forget about it and just move on. But overall, like look, I didn't enjoy it until I enjoyed it. That's like the easiest way for me to put it. But
Right,
what about you, bro?
right. Dude, so I was just watching this at home in my living room, right? Because
Yeah,
obviously, I'm in Buffalo. I don't get to really have as live of an experience as you.
yeah,
Um, but nah, man, I was pretty much biting my nails that whole game. They
yeah.
made it way too close for comfort. Literally close game the whole way through. No team gained separation in that game.
Mm,
And whenever somebody did, it would be a quick response. But basically, that entire first quarter, I was just shaking my head. I'm like, there's no way that we're going to stand a chance in this game. Because the
yeah.
whole time I was assuming Harden or Mitchell, or really any of the role players on the Cavs would wake up offensively. But no, this remained a defensive game throughout. It felt like some like 1980s basketball today.
Yeah, bro.
Um, I
That's
mean,
a
dude, when's the last time a team, like two teams, have scored under 100 in a playoff game? It's got
I
to be
don't
a
know,
long
bro.
time.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking, bro. In the first half, at the halftime break, it was 36-36. I was thinking, man, the old heads are
Hmm.
they must be loving this shit, bro.
Oh
Just
my gosh, they
straight
must be licking
hoops,
their lips watching
straight
this, right?
defense, just scrappiness, just like aggression and stuff like that. But nah, first quarter, second quarter was definitely super scary for me. Especially
Yeah,
because um like you said, like the Cavs players, they didn't really get it going early. So I was kind of
no,
like, yo, when are they gonna, start hitting? When are they gonna go
yeah,
crazy? So yeah, nah, definitely scary, but hey, got through it.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't have to sit here and break down this game like play by play from first quarter to the end. We can kind of just sum it up based on what we're thinking.
yeah.
Because obviously, this one was a wild one, and we're obviously still coming down from the high that win brought us. I honestly just kind of collapsed. Like after we won, I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way that we just did that. And I just kind of like sat there and
I couldn't believe it,
man,
bro.
I don't know.
I
I
couldn't
couldn't
believe
even
it.
believe it
Like
because I'm like, there's no way this is a 2-2 series right now. The way we
yeah,
played in that game, we had no business winning a game shooting that percentage. But then again, man, you play who you play, you
you can.
win
Yeah,
any way
listen,
you
bro.
can.
You can
It's
only
pretty or ugly, it don't matter.
you can only play what's in front of you, bro. Like I know we
Yep,
want to talk about like if this stuff won't fly against like the Celtics and Knicks. But look, bro, you can only play what's in front of you. And
yep,
today, in my opinion, we fought, and that's honestly what I really have been wanting to see from this team for the
yeah,
past like six months, bro. Ever since honestly the turn of the year, since January, this team has just been like just the collapses in the fourth quarter. You go into fourth quarters just knowing
hmm,
that it's just not gonna go your way, and for whatever reason, it always happens. And just today and the game three, it just felt a little bit different. and
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about why and like our potential reasons, because there's probably a million different reasons, but like there's obviously gonna be some that are like more prominent than the others. But look, I know we're kind of just bouncing off each other right now. Pause.
Yeah.
But but listen, bro, I want to kind of talk about Brandon Ingram too, bro,
Oh, of
because
course we can't skip over that.
let me start off by saying this, bro. When the game started, he was 0 for 3, 0 for 4. I thought, okay, he's kind of going for that look of, hey, I'm still confident in my ability. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
shooting the ball. I'm not gonna be afraid to drive in and get my looks, which okay, I can appreciate, right? We want a player that's confident, has the memory of a goldfish, and can move on from bad performances. That's fair.
Absolutely.
But then he makes one shot. He's one for three, 1 for 4, and then he goes on to miss another five, which at this point he's 1 for 9, and we're in like it's like the 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and we're looking at
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram while we have like 20 points in like a quarter and a half basically.
Yeah.
And then obviously he has that little run towards the end of the second where he just kind of takes over a little bit. But ultimately the team gets some good looks, especially at the end of the quarter. In the second quarter, gets that buzzer beater that kind of electrified the crowd a little bit, and me.
Electrified me for sure.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too, me too. But yeah, no, at this point he's I believe he was like 4 for 13, which is okay. It's not bad. You're getting ever so close to that 40% mark, which is like basically
Right.
like the
Right.
average. But then he comes out in the second half just shooting bricks, bro. Shooting
Yeah.
bricks, and he ended up being 5 for 19 at one point. So look, I know it's an easy topic to talk about how he's not shooting well from the field. Um, but look, we when we needed him most, he did make the threes.
He stepped up.
He did step up. So like I'm looking at the stats right here, 6 for 23, which is not great. But he's also 3 for 7 from three and made 8 out of 9 free throws. So look, I've been a critic, bro. It's hard not to criticize Brandon Ingram, but you got to look at it like for what it is. Like he's showing up in the moments, but again, you're paying him 40 million, 41 million. You expect a little bit more than 6 for 23, which look, I'm saying this, but I always want to be proven wrong when I'm criticizing a Raptors player, and I
Yeah.
want him to kind of just evolve and become a little bit better. So yeah, that's honestly my take on Ingram. I have more to say, but I know you want to kind of talk about Ingram and the other players as well. So
No, yeah. Well, especially because he's your number one option, right? You want to
yeah,
see more from him. And you brought him here to be that go-to guy. You brought him here to be the guy that, when other shots aren't falling, he needs to be the guy that you go to in those moments. And I feel like there was a little bit too much pressure put on him today.
yeah,
Because I feel that, again, this game started off, it wasn't even just Ingram who was missing a bunch of shots. It was really the entire team, right?
everyone, right,
And
right,
in that position, you kind of, you might think, well, now we got to force it to our guy because, if we're not hitting these shots, we're gonna need our best player to go get those buckets for us. And I just feel like he was thinking about um, his stat line too much.
yeah,
I imagine him kind of, getting the ball and thinking, well, okay, I've already missed this many shots. I surely can't miss another one, right? And
yeah,
he's just in his head too much, it feels like. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of these shots weren't even quality shots. And I know Brandon Ingram's a guy who likes those deep middies. He might kind of disappoint you a little bit with just some of his shot creation. I mean, like he's got a great shot creation ability, but there's a lot of times where he's got the ball and you're just wondering, like, okay, does he even really know what he's doing here? Because he'll dribble around, he'll get two guys, they'll bring the double on him,
yeah,
and then sometimes he'll shoot over the double. Sometimes he'll get a little bit too passive. So I don't know. I just feel like he's in his head a little bit too much. I felt that way pretty much the whole game. But when it really mattered, he knocked down those big shots, and we were talking about the one that he hit at the end of the first quarter. It's 84-79. Late in this game, we're down five. We need offense. There's
Yeah.
nothing. We can't get anything to go really, and somebody drove into the paint. I believe it was R.J. Barrett drove into the paint. Missed the shot. It got rebounded, kicked back out to Bi, and he knocks down the big one. And all of a sudden, it's a 2 point game. And in a game like this, man, I mean,
Everything
any
matters, bro.
bucket, yeah, any bucket feels like, I mean, it took the roof off of the building because everyone's feeling the same way. Like, um, every bucket in this game was so important. You get one basket and you feel like you have like a whole sigh of relief because I don't know, man. Offensively, I said it coming off of game three. Like, there's no way we shoot this well again. We shot, I believe, what was it, 70 or no, I'm sorry, 60% from three in game three. Almost 60% from three.
Yeah.
And then we come into this game, and just like a lot
13.
of people were thinking, yeah, yeah, it's not just any drop off. It's a huge drop off, and all of a sudden, you're looking at what was it, an 8 point deficit late in this game. I imagine every Raptors fan's thinking at this point, an 8 point game feels like a 30 point game.
Oh.
In a game like this,
Yeah, no,
but
look,
big moments,
uh
man, big moments that mattered, and Bi stepped up when we needed him.
yeah, bro, like to your point of like everyone just kind of just taking it in for what it is, like just celebrating simple layups and stuff like that. I was in the Raptors crowd amongst the fans today, and look, I can say that was so true. Like when the game started, like of course everyone claps and cheers for layups and stuff like that, but of course like towards the end of the game it's always going to be a little bit sweeter. But it just
Mhm.
was crazy today, like celebrating every single play that goes our way, and it was just it's just a testament to how loyal and how like honestly just passionate the fans are in the city, which is another thing
Yeah,
that's going to help us win this series if we can take one game in game 5, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah,
yeah,
no, to your point of like the field goal percentage and stuff like that, I'm looking at it right now. Um, we really should not have won this game based off like the shooting percentages alone. And the reason I'm saying that is because, bro, from field goal we shot 32%, all right, and they shot 36, so not great on either end of the court for either like both teams. Three pointers, they shot 25%, so still pretty bad, but they made 10 out of 43s. So, and we made 4 out of 30. So they made six more threes than us, and they made one more field goal than us. But the reason we won this game, and I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this, um, is the free throws. They had 23 free throws and we had 36. They shot 65%. They made 15 out of 23, and we made 27 out of 36. So we won the free throw battle, and that allowed us to win the game ultimately. And again, like we were saying last episode, by the way, we won the turnover battle. So that was another big
yep,
thing for how we won the game.
it's
But
huge.
quickly on the free throws. I saw their coach, Kenny Atkinson, talk about how we got 36 free throws, but they only got 23. But like, bro, there's no context around that. It's just basis claims. Like, if we look at the end of the quarters, there was like how many intentional fouls because it was literally like it was a foul game.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it was like six. And then Ingram got three fouls off that one Harden foul on the 3 point on the perimeter, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
CMB had a like a flagrant
You had
foul where
Donovan Mitchell commit a really, really dumb foul when Toronto was in the bonus, a reach-in foul,
yeah. So
which
like
sent us
look,
to the line.
altogether that's around like 10 or 11 free throws, and if you take that out, it's
Pretty
instead of
even.
it's pretty even, right? Where maybe get one or two more free throws, but what is that in a game of basketball in 2026?
And I think
So
every coach is going to say that when
yeah,
another team gets a big free throw advantage. And I don't know. I just thought like we were very physical today.
yeah, I
This is
love that.
obviously a very physical series. I thought the refs actually let a lot of stuff slide, if I'm being real.
Yeah,
Um, because they just kind of saw what kind of game this was turning out to be and said, well, this is how this this is how this one's going to go. We got to let a lot of this stuff fly. So I was actually happy to see like more of a physical game because it brings me back to some of those earlier days. Even back in the 2010s, like this reminded me a lot of Game 7 against Philadelphia
Yeah,
when it was just a slugfest, just brick after
scrappy.
brick after brick after brick.
That might be the
Um,
last. Sorry to cut you off. That might be the last game
no,
under
you're good.
100. I know you were
Yeah.
talking about that earlier.
Yeah, no, like that game, that final score, I believe 92-90.
Yeah,
This one 93-89, so not so different. It felt pretty similar in that way.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, Brandon Ingram, you know, came out in this game the same way Kawhi kind of came out in that game. And I believe Darko kind of, um, drilled that into his brain, like, you need to go out and be our guy here. You can't be afraid to take these shots. And he didn't really settle for anything. He took as many shots as he possibly could in this game. And a lot of them were actually, very fluky misses, shots that he wouldn't usually miss, like
yeah,
some layups. He missed a lot of open shots. There were a couple open threes that he missed, a couple open middies that he missed. So I expect that to improve going into game 5. I know we've been kind of saying this after every game, considering, BI hasn't really even had a good game yet in this series. But I do expect things to turn around for him. I think, honestly, now that it's a 2-2 series as well, he might have a little less pressure on him because a game like this kind of shows, like, even if Brandon Ingram doesn't show up, you can still win. You saw it last game, you can still win. So you just add, a really nice BI performance to the table, and you probably find yourself in a much better position. And I feel like, going forward, he's going to see that, he's got a team around him, and of course, all offensive performances aside, because nobody really had a super efficient day today. But he's going to recognize he's got a team around him that's willing to fight possession after possession, no matter what he does in the game. I mean, defensively, this team was amazing. Kind of want to touch on that a little bit as well. What you saw defensively, Colin Murray Boyles is a guy I
Oh
want to
my
talk about.
God, bro.
A lot
Can
of
we?
blocks in
Can
this
we?
one, a lot of
Oh my God, bro. He is so good at
incredible.
basketball, bro. He is so good
Yeah,
at basketball, and
really.
it's. Look, I don't want to cut out from your talking point, but look, bro. Scotty and CMB on defense have genuinely like just made me fall in love with the team a little
Yeah.
bit more, bro.
It's moving me, man.
Yeah,
Like the front court of Scotty and CMB, and you talk a lot about Jakob Pertl in there as well.
yeah,
Um, Man, I just feel like we play a lot better with CMB in the middle.
yeah,
And part of that is because, dude, for a power forward, um, he can play the center. I mean, I know you're not gonna you're not gonna have the best results every single time because he's a little undersized, but
yeah,
this guy can take on the challenge of Jared Allen. He can take on the challenge of Evan Mobley. Like, he's shown that, as a rookie, he is able to hang with these big name guys who are on big contracts. I mean, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen probably make, a half of Cleveland's payroll. So
Not even that.
what he's been able to do, man, is
Evan Mobley is a
incredible.
defensive player of the year, bro.
Yeah,
Even on
legit.
offense,
And
he's not able like offense is probably the worst part of Colin Murray Bowles' game as of now, like
yeah,
as a rookie, and he's
yeah,
still able to go today. He went 5 for 11, 15 points.
he's
And I
been
believe
very efficient.
15 points, 5 for 11 with 10 rebounds and 3 assists with 2 steals um is more than what Jared Allen and Evan Mobley did today. They both combined
Yeah.
had 11 points and
And
went
it's not
5
even
for 16.
it's not even just a stat game. You legit watch this game, the eye test shows you. Like, this
Yeah.
guy is just he's on every possession. He's hustling on every possession. He doesn't take a single play off. Um and yeah, I mean, just I don't know, man. I don't know what the future is going forward with Jakob Pertl. We'll talk a lot about this in our off-season video whenever that
Yeah.
comes. Hopefully not for a while.
Yeah.
But no, dude. I mean, I did see some things I liked from Jakob today.
Yeah.
He had 2-and-1 finishes.
Oh yeah,
He
that
was
was big.
actually he knocked his free throws down. That's not something you typically expect from him. Um, I believe he played about 20 minutes, around 20 minutes tonight,
21, yeah.
um, or today. And yeah, I mean, dude, it's just going to be a lot of it's going to be a lot about the rotations in the series. It's funny because this Raptors team, they're in the playoffs and all, but it doesn't feel like they've settled on a specific lineup yet. It feels like the rotations are very fluky.
Mm,
You'll have guys like Jamison Battle come in every now and then, and he's a guy I kind of want to touch on here. I mean, uh, what did you think about him coming in the game, missing one shot pretty badly, and then just coming
yeah.
out for the rest of the game? How'd you feel about that?
Look, the thing with him is I wish I would have liked to see him a little more. But I do understand why he didn't play as much as I don't like it. He's kind of like we all know, like, look, he scored the four threes, and he
Yeah.
had like a very good fourth quarter. But it's you're not gonna get that every single game.
Yep.
And look, he's still a young guy, still a pretty young player, I believe. I think he's like what, 22, 23, something there.
Yeah, he's very young.
Yeah, so of course he'll grow and he'll have his moments, especially in these playoffs, and we'll need him to hit shots. Which I look, he missed that shot today, but it's just one shot, and everyone. I think we were talking about it previously. I think it might have been the early start time, honestly, bro, because
Yeah, definitely,
it could have
definitely.
it could
That
have been
could be a
that, but
factor.
again, with Colin Murray Boyles, it's just such a weird topic for me because going into Game Five and potentially even a further series, if we were to make it that far, like what do you really do for your starting lineups? Because you're not going to bench Ingram, even though you maybe should. If as of
Yeah, you
now,
can't. You just can't.
you can't because look, as much as we're criticizing Ingram, I do believe, like you were saying, a lot of his misses came off of good shots. They came off of like well constructed looks.
Yeah,
Like literally remember one where he had a wide open lane, and he missed a layup, which look, it looks bad right now. But at the end of the day, in a game like this, he still had 23 points, which
yeah,
ties the game high for the Raptors. And I believe the game high in general. Let me check. Yeah, the game high in general. Him and Scotty both had the game high. But
yeah.
again, uh,
23.
yeah, like I have no clue what to do because if you go we can skip the guards for now because that's a conversation for a different day. Especially with quickly coming back,
Right.
but.
IQ's out for the series.
Yeah, he's gonna come back next series if we make it. So we can talk about that a little bit more there. But especially for like the 3, 4, and 5, it's kind of a weird thing because
It's very back and forth.
I would really like if we had like Ingram, Scotty, and CMB. But the issue with that is like it's a very big issue is the rebounding, which today, one thing that the Cavs did do really well is get the boards. I mean, I guess
Yeah, they did.
they got like 40 boards, we got 38. It didn't really seem like that much.
Yeah, it
Um,
felt like they out rebounded
it
us in this
really
game.
did
Like I know
because
they did, but it felt like they significantly out
yeah,
rebounded us.
because look, there was so many possessions where, especially down like in the end of the game, fourth quarter, where you need to just get the board,
Oh
and
my goodness.
we
How about
just
that one
don't get the
possession
board.
where
Don't get it three times,
where
and they get it.
yeah, they got the ball. They got an offensive rebound. I think it was Mobley both times. They had three chances, and
Yeah,
luckily they came up scoreless on that possession. Um, I don't remember exactly the point that was in the game. All I know it was within like the last 4 minutes. So
yeah,
huge possession that we needed to grab the rebound, and thankfully Cleveland was just shooting so terribly along with us because it felt like at many points in this game we were going to see a dagger shot come in, and a lot of those dagger shots come off of offensive boards. So,
yeah,
yeah, going forward, it's like you said, we're gonna have to figure it out. And I was afraid I was gonna say this, but I think it's gonna come down to Darko, figuring out these rotations. And we've both been kind of critical of him this year. Kind of being unsure of some things within the lineups. Do you play some guys more minutes? Do you cut down on some minutes for other guys? Do you sit Jakob Poeltl entirely? Like, do you give Jakob Poeltl like 10 minutes a game and see what type of run he gives you, and kind of just
yeah,
play CMB, go small ball the rest of the way? It's really just hard to figure out, and it's not something you want to be um, so unsure of in a playoff series. You have
Yeah.
82 games in the regular season to figure this out. There's a lot of other teams like we've just been watching them, like the Knicks, the Celtics, the Lakers, like all these teams that, even when they have their own injury issues, they still seem to have kind of, they seem to be sure of their rotations. They seem to be sure of the guys that they want to play, in a 9-man or an 8-man rotation. Like they know what they're doing, and that's something that's definitely going to have to be addressed in the offseason, something that's definitely going to have to be better next season. And, obviously, we have no idea what next season is going to be like, right? We, we,
Yeah.
we can't look that far into the future, but we do have a pretty good idea that Darko Rajakovic is still going to be a part of this thing. And we
Yeah.
need him to be um, better in this aspect because I thought he did well with the rotations today. I liked that Scotty was barely off the floor, and when he was, I liked that Ingram was still on the floor. He definitely adjusted from those first two games. There were a lot of minutes where Bi and Scotty were both on the bench. Not a lot of minutes, but any minutes that they're both on the bench is going to feel like a lot, right? Because
Yeah.
then you're asking guys like Jamal Shed. You're asking for a lot of like heavy RJ Barrett offensive minutes. You're asking just guys that really haven't been here before, like Jacoby Walter, to generate offense for you. And I know Jacoby Walter. I just want to touch on this really quick.
Bad couple of
Obviously,
games.
he's still a little under the weather. We
Yeah.
know he was going through that illness. We don't know really the severity of it, but it's definitely showing. Obviously he's inexperienced too, so it could just come down to that. But yeah, bad stretch of games here. You hope that he's the guy that wakes up because next game's going to be a big one. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about in this game, um, just in the fourth quarter in general, I felt I just wanted to get this thought out of the way. When Donovan Mitchell hit that pull up three, tied the game at 74,
Oh my
I remember in the group chat with you and all of our other good buddies who support this team.
god.
I was saying this game's over. And I know I'm a pessimist. I've been a pessimist throughout my history of watching any of my favorite sports teams. But I felt that as soon as Mitchell hit that shot tied at 74, I thought Cleveland was going to wake up. I thought that they were going to put us out of our misery here. Um, it was James Harden hitting one from the corner after that. Cleveland extends their lead. I remember to 8 at one point in this fourth quarter.
hmm
Down the stretch, though, this team showed a lot of fight. They didn't give up. Scotty Barnes just fighting defensively on every single possession. Uh, Jamal Shed that huge play
Oh my
um,
god, bro.
on Mitchell in the backcourt to force an 8-second violation. You're just seeing like these are huge moments for young players and a core that you're developing still at this point. It's huge to get moments like this. So whether we lose this series or not, I'm grateful for games like this. Games like this
Yeah.
are going to matter in the future. We talk about it with a lot of teams. An example is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They needed to go through all of those, motions that they went through, like losing to Dallas in 2024, to end up becoming champions a year later. And I know we're not the Oklahoma City Thunder, but
Yeah.
these are huge moments for young teams that are developing. Um, and Scotty Barnes, clutch from the free throw line. I've always felt that he was. Huge free throws that he knocked down to close this one out. So we got ourselves a series now, man. We're going into game five.
It's
Um,
exciting, bro.
what are your main? I don't want to say expectations. What are some things that you really want to see more of in Game Five, other than just the Raptors shooting over 30% from the field?
Uh with like it's kind of weird because with the shooting, I'm not too like at the end of the day, I can't get too mad at it because it's not like they're like apart from RJ, which he's shot chucking like crazy. He's a shot chucker. We already know that,
Yeah,
but like especially with the threes, we're looking at Jacoby Walter 0 for 9, 0 for 8 from 3. Like there was a couple looks where they weren't bad looks. Like on another day they go down, and I know we're talking
yeah,
about like the start time, which is 1 o'clock today, a little bit early. But look, bro, um, stuff happens. You miss shots, you make shots some days. You can't really control that. What you can control is how hard you play. So I know we weren't really doing the expectation stuff, but what I want to see from the team is just going out there and fighting. And what I think I will see is just that, because at the end of the game, we saw a lot of interviews of the guys just saying, "Look, we want this so bad. We want to win the game. We
Yeah,
want to
they're
win the
hungry.
series." They're hungry to win, which is literally all we've been asking for from the start of the season.
Yep.
And we saw it, but towards the end, of course, it wasn't showing. And part of it, which I will give credit to Darko, I know we've been kind of critical of him, but I will give credit. He's a really good man manager, which means basically he's just really good at understanding what players he has and
Yep.
enabling them to get the best out of themselves, even though on a tactical level it might not be the case, but on a personal level, you could probably see with Ingram. Ingram, if he comes out next game shooting like 60% from the field, get you 30 points, then the whole narrative around him changes. And if that were to happen, which I look, um, when the game ended, I was kind of my opinions were kind of clouded by the immediate judgment, but kind of
Right.
settling
Of
settling
course.
away from the game, kind of thinking, look, if Ingram comes out next game, the whole narrative changes, and I think he can. I think he's obviously a great player in the playoffs. He hasn't had
Hmm.
a good series, but look, in 2019, Fred VanVleet wasn't as good of a player as he was after. In that Sixer series, he wasn't hitting shots.
Right.
He kind
Right.
of he kind of started hitting shots towards the Milwaukee series. So you never know,
And he
bro.
became a huge factor for us.
Exactly. So look, I want to see just us just keep on taking these shots. These are good shots. Of course, people are gonna get mad if you miss. It's just the way that things. I'm not saying people as if like I'm not one of them. I am one of them as well.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. It's an
but
execution. It's a make or miss league.
it's a make or miss league, so that's all we can really hope for is if you make it. But if it's a good shot, then we can't like at the end of the day we can't get mad if you miss that shot.
Yeah,
But
man. Make
yeah.
smart plays, right?
Yeah, make
Like
smart plays,
just
play
don't
hard defense. That's really all that we want.
hard defense. Try not to turn the ball over. I know you could. That's another kind of
Yeah,
that thing can go either way. There's a lot of um, passes that would be good in theory, but they're just not executed beautifully, and it ends up
yeah,
being a turnover. But I see a lot of stupid turnovers too, man. I see a lot of the Raptors on certain possessions wanting to go fast, and I know they're a transition team.
yeah,
But they'll make bad passes, or they just won't be as careful as they need to be with the ball, and you'll just end up having these stupid turnovers that you just immediately face palm every time you see them. It
yeah.
gets you so pissed off. So yeah, hope to eliminate those going forward. It's going to be a tough one in Cleveland. Wednesday, I don't know the start time at the top of my head. Do
They
you have
haven't
that?
announced it yet, but I think it's gonna be around
Okay.
like 7 p.m. Eastern time, so around
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So we're gonna get a night game, thank God. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of these early
I don't
start
know,
times
bro. I
either.
think I think the shooting had to do something with that because
Maybe it did, man. It's a psychological thing. Shooting the ball is just a very psychological thing.
yeah,
So
because look,
maybe
if you're
maybe it
used
did.
to if you're used to waking up, if you have a 7 o'clock game, I'm assuming you wake up at like 9, 10 a.m. If
Yeah,
you're an
yeah.
NBA player, and you're getting ready for the day and whatever like that. But if it's a 1 p.m. game, you have to be in the arena by 9, so you have to wake up
I
two
mean,
hours earlier.
dude, Bi was literally like in the. I think it was the game three post game, or it may have been like a game four pregame or something. He was saying Glorilla was, or he was saying that Glorilla is going to be keeping him awake before the
Yeah, I
game.
don't know. I
And
don't know about that,
he
man.
was saying he was saying something like he can't wait to go to sleep earlier so she doesn't have to like annoy him or whatever. And obviously he's just making jokes
Yeah,
about his girl, but like what I'm thinking when I hear that is, oh, well, these guys are gonna have to get up a hell of a lot earlier. They're
yeah.
gonna have to go to bed
Chill, man.
earlier time before this game. So yeah, I mean, hey man, it's we get to put the 1 o'clock start time to the side here. We
Yeah,
won this game. We had an earlier start, but at the end of the day, man, doesn't matter. Series is tied up.
yeah. You
Um,
gotta you gotta get these wins, bro. Like I know this is crazy to say, but as champions, bro, if you want to win anything, there's gonna be games like this where you just need to figure out a way to win. You're not gonna play good every game. You're not gonna have things going for you. But if you can win those games, that'll go a long way for not only your confidence, but just the overall success of the team. But yeah, that's basically
yeah,
it for me, man.
Yeah, and man, it's just gonna be it's gonna be a tough game, but
Tough
I'm
game. You
really looking
gotta
forward to it.
you were always gonna have to get one on the road. So I mean,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
now is a better time than ever. So let's go
yeah.
get
You
one.
got the momentum.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, man, I think that this team definitely showed a lot of fight today.
Mm.
I definitely feel a lot more confident now than I did at the start of the series.
Yeah.
And really even after game three, I feel a lot more confident knowing we got both at home. Um, but yeah, man, that's pretty much going to be the end of this episode. I'm thinking that we'll definitely be back here after
Oh,
game
for
five.
sure, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, no. To the end of the episode. Like and subscribe. Let us
yes,
know what
definitely
you
do
thought
that.
about the video and the episode and the Raptors game, and overall just what we can do better as a podcast and to the Raptors as a team. But
Yep.
yeah, no. If you enjoyed, leave a like I said, and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell so every time we upload, you get notified and you can tap in. Whether you're going to work, whether you're going to school, whether you just have some time on your hands, whether you're studying, you could just put the podcast on in the back and just listen to some takes that we have for the Raptors and a lot of the league too. Today we didn't really cover the rest of the league, but we usually do that as well. But yeah, you got anything else to add, Aiden?
No, man, I think that's gonna be it. Let's go Raptors.
Let's go.
Let's take this thing, man. Let's continue this momentum going forward here.
Yep. All right. See you guys later.